It's Friday in Tryon, North Carolina at higher ground. Weather is beautiful outside. We had a real hard rain and storm last night. Knocked the power out for a while in the afternoon and the evening. But today it's cleared up. Very, very pleasant outside. Mid 70s. We're in Mark chapter 9, verse 30. Do you ever have flashbacks? At times when you remember something somebody said or something somebody did, and you say, I remember when they said that or did that. Well, that's exactly what happens today in the scriptures. Jesus makes a statement to his disciples that they would remember later, but it would have a significant difference in their faith. You see, when somebody says something's going to happen and it does happen, and they do it often enough and with enough detail, you really become believers. And I think that it's very interesting as Jesus deals with his disciples. Tells us in chapter 9, verse 31, he was teaching his disciples. This was a teaching time. This was a revealing time. And he tells them the details of what's going to happen to him in Jerusalem. Now listen carefully. It says that he would be delivered into the hands of men. That's exactly what Judas did. He delivered him into the hands of men. He says that these men would mistreat him and kill him. There's a little of that he can control, but not a lot of it that he could control. But more than that, he tells them that he's going to rise again in 3 days. Now that's significant. That's something he had no control over whatsoever as far as man goes. A man can't control when he's going to raise from the dead. It says that they didn't understand. But listen to Matthew, the parallel passage in Matthew 17, verse 22 and following. It says they were deeply grieved to hear this. Listen to what Luke says in a parallel passage in chapter 9, verses 43. It says, let these words sink in. Let these words sink in. Now, why did he say that? Why did he want his disciples to remember these words? That he'd be delivered into the hands of men, he'd be killed, and then he would rise on the third day. It says that the truth was concealed from them at this time, and they were afraid to ask what it all meant. But do you remember when the disciples were in the upper room? Do you remember when they were told that the tomb was empty? Then these words came ringing back into their ears. Jesus told us this. He told us that he would be killed. He told us he'd be handed into the hands of men. And he said that he knew that he was going to be raised on the third day. You see, we don't take a blind leap of faith. There are thousands of scriptures where Jesus and the prophets foretold exactly what Jesus was going to do, what he was going to say, and how everything was going to work out. After a while, you have to start to believe. I remember Arthur Crawford once did a thing saying, if I told you what stock to buy tomorrow and that it would double and it did that, you might listen to me the next time I told you. And if the next time I told you that stock doubled again, a different stock doubled again. And I did that for days after days, telling you about different stocks that were going to go up or down, and that happened exactly as I said it was going to happen. That after a while, you'd start to take some of your savings and invest it in the things that I told you that were going to go up and that I had never missed. Well, that's exactly what Jesus did. That's what the prophets did. True prophets, never wrong, always right. And Jesus told us with a certainty he'd be delivered into the hands of men, he'd be crucified, and be raised again on the third day. And that's what he did. Not a blind leap of faith. If you've never trusted in Jesus as Savior, why not do it today? You see, he tells us there's some coming events that we ought to be concerned about. He says at some point in time, and the scene is set, all of the events that he says would have to happen are already in place. And he would say, time, game's over. I'm coming again. This time I'm going to take home my people, and then I'm going to bring judgment on this earth. Are you ready? Are you ready for that event? That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.